All right, everybody. First and foremost, let's start this off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Candace Owens. Hey, we're close, y'all. You see the title of the video. Wow, we're close. Candace Owens finally talks Hebrew Israelites. That's what we're going to talk about today. All praises to the Most High. Let me know if my audio and visual is sufficient. All praises. Let me know if my audio and visual is sufficient. All praises to the Most High. Let me know. Mic check, mic check. Let me know something, y'all. Genesis. Let's go. Audio and visuals good. Candace Owens bringing up the Israelites live. Candace Owens bringing up the Israelites live. Mic check, mic check. Let me know something, y'all. Okay, good. It's good on my end. It's good on my end. We rocking in 4K. I think it's 4K. It gotta be 1080p at least, or 4K. Shout out to my ISRAELITES, Jorge, and we're shooting in 4K. You understand that? Yeah, y'all. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show the footage. I'm gonna play her live. Not only does she talk about Hebrew Israelites, hey, look. Say what you want to say. Say what you want to say about Candace Owens. You know she has her issues. I don't agree with everything that she says. I don't agree with the totality of her worldview. But right here in this live stream, she's dumping. She's bringing it out. She's going into it. You know, not only does she talk about the Hebrew Israelites, she totally dismantles. I need to bring this mic down a little bit. I need to bring this mic down just a little bit. Y'all. She dismantles the small hats. She totally dismantles the 1948ers, also known as the corny fakers. Bars. Genesis. Put them bombs in the chat if y'all ready to hear this. The truth can only be magnified and glorified. We're at the end of this thing, so it's going to be magnified and glorified. All praises. Put them bombs in the chat so we can get started here. Candace Owens talking about the Israelites. We not famous. The truth is famous.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. Certified.
I know. Listen, I'm not talking about her husband. I already said I don't agree with everything she talks about. But damn it, right here, she's about to go in.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching.
Put them bombs in the chat. Hit that like button so we can get started. Put them bombs in the chat and hit that like button so we can get started. All praises. We on Streamlab today. Deacon destruction mode. You understand that? Everybody I know we got some Christians in here, but they'll never click the link because
this nigga's scared.
Soundboard, Stream Deck. All right, y'all, let's get started. Y'all. I'm hyped about this truth, man. If y'all ain't hyped about the truth, if y'all ain't hyped about what's going on in the end of the world, hey, they just assassinated Hamas's political leader. They saying there's no hope for de-escalation after that move. We want that World War III to come. We want Armageddon to come. We want the Valley of Jehoshaphat to come. Why? Because hey, I'm gonna tell you why. They're in our beginning, huh? That's why we want World War III. Cause 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, damn it. Hey, they're in our beginning. Genesis. You understand that? That's why we want World War III to happen, because the end of this world is the beginning of our world. Their destruction is synonymous with our deliverance. All praises to the Most High, the Cock Just crew. The water for the super chat donation. Greatly appreciate you, my dear beloved. All praises, y'all. Hit that like button. Let's go. Fair use, right? I'm going to say fair use. This is going to be our thoughts and comments on this content. All praises. I just had a smoothie, y'all, with so many berries to oxidize my cells. Maybe that's why I'm amped too. All right, now let's check this out, y'all. Fair use. This is going to be our thoughts and comments on this content. And man, she goes in. She finally talks about the Israelites. So I'm going to share. Oh, Genesis member, Genesis Flexer. All praises for the brother becoming a Genesis Flexer. And where my Genesis frontliners at? All praises. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to play this. Let me do this window capture here. Boom. All right, we're going to do it like that. Bring this out here. 1 second, y'all. Let me transform this to fit the screen. Remember, I'm still working. I'm still working, y'all. I'm still working. Genesis, all praises. Genesis front. I knew I was going to see a Genesis frontliner somewhere. I knew I was going to see a Genesis frontliner somewhere. All praises to the Most High. Now let's go, y'all. Let me know if y'all can see the screen. I'm gonna definitely blow it up so we could see the proper visuals. Put them ones in the chat. Where we at? Where's my live chat? There we go. Look at Zay. I was about to say, I thought that was my other brother. But peace and blessings to the chat. I see everybody falling in. When you fall in, hit that like button. Oh, it's got another Genesis Flexer. All praises. They tried to turn off the channel membership, but guess what we did? We brought it back through the Spirit of God. Okay. So I see it's a little bit of space over here. Just let me come back and fix that real quick. Let me come back and fix that real quick. We're going to bring this over like that. Boom. All right. That should be good. That should be good. All praises. And the water for the super chat donation. I see that says professional Ak. My professional Ak. All praises. Okay. So let's do this, y'all. Y'all ready? Let's do this. I'm gonna play this video.
If you've ever dreamed of owning an apartment complex and you live near one of these cities, then you've got to see this.
Back after a tremendous.
Okay. Genesis Flexers, y'all signing up. All praises to the Most High for supporting the ministry. Greatly appreciate y'all. We're starting from scratch. Genesis is the new camp, the organization, the congregation. We're starting from scratch, so appreciate y'all support. All praises. The work must continue, and we love y'all. All praises. Now, this is from yesterday. Shout out to the brother who sent it to me, my brother Patrick. Genesis Official. Whoa. Oh, Genesis Official with the North Carolina blue Genesis logo. Hey, brother, you might have to chill, King. Genesis. You might have to chill, King. He said, okay, Genesis Flexer is cool. Genesis Frontliner is cool. Bruh said Genesis Official. Like a referee with a whistle. Don't worry, brother. I got that stripes. Since you're a Genesis Official, I'm going to get you the Genesis shirt with the stripes on it. Like a referee, brother. All right. So the water to the brother who sent me this video, though. The water to the brother that sent me this video. Without further ado, y'all, let's play this. And before I get a notification, somebody said the donations are too loud. I know. I don't know how to turn it down, y'all. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, I don't know how to turn it down. I thought I could turn it down right here. I thought I seen it. There's the smoke. There's the media file. There's the microphone. There's the Okay. Yeah, y'all gonna have to forgive me. I'm still working on this new software. Software. So forgive me on that, y'all. If you don't, shoot. Okay. So yeah, let's play this, y'all. Without further ado, let's play this. All right, let's go.
Tremendous episode yesterday. Unbelievable. I think we're going to actually cross 1 million views in less than 24 hours, which is just impressive. Impressive mostly because I think the majority of people have this perception that the public is too stupid or lacks substance to deal with complex issues.
So let me know if you guys hear her audio good. How's the media audio? Let me hear it on my end.
Cross 1 million views in less than 24 hours, which...
Oh, there's a little bit of an echo. Is there an echo on y'all's end? Let me know, y'all. We're doing some live editing. Is there a little echo from her on y'all's end? There's an echo? Okay. I see we got another super chat donation. Greatly appreciate you, my dear beloved brother, for supporting the ministry. So what I'm going to do is, it's a small echo, a little bit of reverb. Okay. Loud, clear, echo. Okay, so here's what I want to do here. Maybe I'll mute myself or turn my mic down while she's going. It's a little bit. Okay, I'm going to turn my mic down while she's going in. And look at all these scriptures I got. And look at all this history I got up top here. Because she says something. Now get it. She's about to go in on the small hats, on the Revelation 2:9 guys. She's about to go in on them. She's about to big up us and promote us. But she's also wrong on a few things. So I got to correct her there. So I might have to turn my mic down just a little bit while... All right, so I'm gonna need y'all's help. Today I'm gonna give away a free scholarship for sure. Don't let me forget. Genesis Frontliner. Hey, shalom for becoming a member of the channel. All right, so I'm gonna turn down my mic and then let me know if there's still an echo, y'all.
I think that everybody is just so surface. And so a lot of times in media, you're encouraged not to talk about anything of substance, like just be outraged at the Olympics and say, oh, what's going on, blah, 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 and don't get any deeper than that. And I went deeper yesterday because I felt that it was the right moment, and I very much tried.
Okay, how was that? There's still an echo? Was there still an echo? Was there still an echo? Echo gone? Okay, there we go. So I had to turn my mic down a little bit. All praises. Okay. So I'm gonna have to figure this out after this show. I don't want to hold y'all up. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna have to turn down my mic some while she's talking. Okay, so let's go, y'all. All praises. I appreciate you guys. Put them G's in the chat, man. Put them G's, real G's, G code. Real G's for the G code. Put them capital G's in the chat. Real G's for the G code. All praises for my brother Leon for becoming a Genesis flexor. All right, so let's turn me down and let's play this. Let's get going, y'all. All praises.
Trust my audience, and now I realize that there is so much that, just like me a couple of years ago, I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and then I did the research, and then I wanted to know all of it. I see that you guys have that exact same yearning, and so today I'm not going to let you down. We are going to continue that most important discussions.
Now, yesterday, well, this was a day before this one. I appreciate what she did, though. I appreciate that she's letting her hands go. Oh my God, the water for the Genesis flexors. Big G's in the chat, G code. You understand that? Now, I appreciate what she's doing, though. She's letting her hands go. And not only is she letting her hands go, she's sitting down on her punches. That's what we call it in boxing. She's letting her hands go and she's sitting down on her punches. That means she's saying some things that's unapologetic, right? And like I said, I don't agree with everything she says. I'm not here to debate the rest of her doctrine or worldview or ideologies. I'm talking about this specific live stream. I don't really watch her at all. I see a couple TikTok videos a couple Instagram reels, but you know, I don't really watch Candace Owens like that. The water for the brother who sent this to me. Let's continue.
So welcome back to Candace.
Look at this. Look at now that I have to speak on that. That was just disgusting. How they showed her husband, that translucent thing, that her husband, also known as that translucent thing. The water for becoming a Genesis flexor. I gotta do some push-ups for every flexor. I'm gonna just do 15 push-ups, right? I'm gonna do 15 push-ups, and then I'm gonna be swole with all these members, right? Let's go.
Gives you the
I would probably say that within my life, telling the truth has always come very easily to me. In fact, I think I've always sort of demanded to have an honest discussion. Even from the time that I was a small child, I get that question all the time from people. You know, how did you learn how to public speak? Where do you get the confidence? And especially
Now, do you guys see the cross? So she's always proclaiming, you know, the name Jesus Christ and that Jesus Christ is king and all of that. Now, more than likely, you know, she's probably thinking of a white image of Jesus Christ, you know, which that's the devil the Bible speaks of. You know, that white image of him. He was a man of color with woolly hair, much like a Negro today. Somebody says, stop talking too much. I can't stop popping it. I'm the prophet that pops it. I'm the prophet that pops it, right? But anyway, you see the cross. She's a fervent and diehard Christian. Let's go.
especially now that I have 3 kids, you can just see that everyone's wired in a different way when they're born. And I was just wired to want to know the truth without being fooled into it in any capacity. So I guess an example of this would just be my parents would always say that they had to sort of close the door and laugh when I was a toddler because I was constantly asking them questions like I was just this precocious child. And I feel like I was always looking out for my sisters in the same capacity, like telling them that this adult couldn't be trusted, or they weren't telling us the truth over something that probably was completely meaningless. But I think it just spoke to my natural character. And so when I got into politics,
Can somebody block that person who told me to shut up and let her finish? Thank you.
and I recognized that the same thing was happening, that people were reaching this level of popularity where they suddenly felt that they just wanted to stay comfortable and they were no longer reaching to reveal the truth to their audiences. It was a tremendous letdown for me. Genuinely was a tremendous letdown for me. And so yesterday's episode didn't come without thought. You know, it was a discussion rather that I was having with my family, with my sisters, with my husband, when I started stumbling upon deeper and deeper truth and much of it just being so obscured from the public. You know, should we bring this forward? Do we want to be the people that bring this forward? Do we want to be the people that put our lives at risk, that put our reputation at risk? And I just know that there has been a lot that's been happening in the world, but I felt very much that the signs were there, that the public was ready, and that I was ready to sort of deliver this information. And
So it took her all these years for her to finally come out and start speaking truth. This is why the Hebrew Israelites are so much better to represent our community than anybody else. We didn't wait. We don't care if we get canceled. We don't care if we get fired. We don't care if we go to jail. We don't care if we get persecuted. We don't care. It took you all this time in the decades into your career for you to start speaking truth, whether it's Hebrew Israelites or coming against the powers that be, etc. Let's keep going.
I want to jump right back into that discussion that we were having really about spiritualism. And I'm going to use not a current event, but a recent current event that happened a couple of years ago. You will remember.
Okay, here she go. All right, here's the moment y'all been waiting for. She's about to talk about Hebrew Israelites. And she has over 2 million subscribers, and this video has almost 500,000. So praise the Most High for him magnifying his truth. Let's go.
And I'm going to use not a current event, but a recent current event that happened a couple of years ago. You will remember this because I think it might have been the craziest moment from 2022. So Kyrie Irving, at the time, he still might be a basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets, tweeted a link to a documentary, absent commentary. He didn't tweet this and say, I agree with this. He didn't tweet this and say, I disagree with this. He just tweeted a link to a readily available documentary that was on Amazon, and he said nothing. And the next thing you knew, he was a mainstream story, and he was at risk of losing his job as a basketball player. And the title of the documentary was From Hebrews, to Negroes. And if he had just tweeted it and the media didn't react with such insanity, probably no one would have watched it. I'm serious. It was a nothing thing, but they made such a big deal out of it that I remember watching the situation go down and going, okay, what is in this documentary that people are freaking out so much that the NBA has given him, you'll recall this, a list of 6 demands,
Now, how many of y'all, first of all, do I still have an echo? And how many of y'all, is there still an echo when she's talking? But how many of y'all remember that situation with Kyrie Irving when he shared our brother Ron Dalton's book, Hebrews to Negroes? How many of y'all remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. Genesis frontliner, the water for becoming a Genesis frontliner, all praises. Kyrie Irving is a MK asset. Let me know, y'all. Let's continue.
List of 6 action items that he must complete in order to return to the franchise. Okay. Absurd. Do you remember this headline that was going on? This is what Kyrie Irving must do to get his life back for having tweeted out a link to a documentary that's available on Amazon. Not Jeff Bezos, but Kyrie Irving is at fault. Not Jeff Bezos for making it readily available on Amazon. The first set of things that he had to do, the first thing he had to do was he had to issue an apology for posting a link to the movie, condemn the harmful and false content, and make it clear that he does not have anti-Jewish beliefs. Secondly, he had to complete the anti-hate causes that the Irving and the Nets and the ADL, I'll keep that topic, we're going to talk about more about the ADL today, agreed upon in their joint release, which included a 500.
How many of y'all ever remembering some white person having to do this at their job when they say the word nigger? How many of y'all remember any white people or Asian people having to do this at their job if they say the N-word or if they're discriminatory towards Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Do you remember a list of, how about, we know nothing will happen with Donald Trump, but how about, other famous white people or entertainers who've said nasty things about us? They didn't get this whole list to do. And it was crazy that Jeff Bezos is his website and he got no backlash for it. Let's keep going.
The ADL today agreed upon in their joint release, which included a $500,000 donation toward causes and organizations that work to eradicate hate and intolerance in communities. He was then told he had to complete sensitivity training created by the Nets. He was then told he had to complete anti-Semitic, anti-hate training designed by the Nets, and meet with representatives from the ADL as well as Jewish community leaders in Brooklyn. And the last one was after completing steps 1 through 5, he had to meet with the owner of the Nets, Joe Tsai, and lead franchise officials and demonstrate the lessons that he learned. Okay, so this was just like a whipping, a public whipping. It made entirely no sense. And I don't
beat that man's back. Now, Kyrie Irving, at first he was standing on business. Then he started to tuck tail and hoe up. Hebrew Israelites, we gonna stand tall. The water cash out for becoming a Genesis flexor. Genesis.
I think he actually ended up doing any of that because then there was outrage and outcry, rightfully so, from the Black community going, what are you doing right now? What did he do that was so wrong? And of course, because of the way my brain works, when I see the media overreact, I just go, what's in this documentary? I mean, I think that's called the Streisand effect. Like when you go so crazy about.
Now, y'all remember, I ain't gonna lie, I love our brother Ron Dalton. Man, after Kyrie tweeted that and this whole storm that happened, this catastrophic event that happened over Kyrie just simply tweeting the book, not even putting a caption. Do you guys know our brother Ron Dalton, peace be unto him, his sales went out, his sales for that book went out the roof. Now I'm not pocket watching. All praises, brother. You know that was a celebrity shared your material, and you benefited. The Most High allowed that. All praises. I'm not pocket watching. I'm just saying why, because they're like, what's in the book that got you guys freaking out like this? And the sales went through the roof. All praises. Matter of fact, I got the book. I got the book right here. Shout out to our brother Ron Dalton. All right, let's keep going.
About something that people wouldn't have noticed, then suddenly go, okay, well, what am I not supposed to see in this documentary? And I, of course, instantly watched it. And it was, by the way, very poorly put together, which is why it made it even crazier. It seems like a very budget film that was put together. It looks almost like a PowerPoint, to be honest. And I remember watching this going, how could this documentary have caused this much craziness in the media?
Now, don't take a shot. See, now she kind of took a shot at our brother Ron Dalton. So the video may have been put together with a small budget, but the information is true. Shout out to Deshaun for becoming a Sakari flexer with them logos. All praises. Now, when you have the truth, let me tell you guys something real quick. I know I'm interjecting, but even if it's low quality, this is how we know we have the truth and what we're saying is correct. Because even with the low quality, the information is true. So let's continue.
Yeah. And then I realized that the point of the documentary that it was making that upset, and this is why the ADL got involved, was the documentary makers.
Disclaimer. I do not agree with everything in the book. Neither do I agree with all of Ron Dalton's doctrine. That would not stop him from being my brother. And the fact that we share some fundamental foundation that, we're the Israelites and we got to keep the commandments.
That it was making that upset, and this is why the ADL got involved, was the documentary makers, that is, were alleging that the current Jewish people that are in Israel are not, in fact, the biblical Jews, and instead that the people that were brought over in the transatlantic slave trade from Africa to America were the original Hebrews, okay? So parking aside whether or not you agree with that, I have obviously no idea.
Now that's what I don't like. See, somebody made a post in the comments saying blurred lines. She read the book. She knows the whole world went crazy over the book. She knows the small hats. That community went crazy over the book. But now she's going to say, I have no idea. I thought you were like a researcher. I thought you were a scrutinizer of the data. You do, like, this is your field. I don't know. I have no idea. Yes, you do know. So now you're tiptoeing. But either way, the Most High made her go into this yesterday. And so 500,000 people, 1 million people are going to see it. And, they'll do their research. They'll pick up where she left off. And they'll come get the real truth, because the elect has to be sealed before the end. You understand that? Talking about, I don't know, right? You got to know. You mean you don't want to say? Let me bring that back and let it go.
Trade from Africa to America were the original Hebrews, okay? So parking aside whether or not you agree with that, I have obviously no idea. How strange is it that that would cause that sort of a reaction? I mean, we live in a time where a man can say he's a woman and a woman can say that she's a man. You can quite literally wake up and pick your gender and pick your species, and people will be affectionate towards you. They feel so bad for you. They have sympathy. It's like we must do more to support these communities. They're not confused as who they are on the inside.
And we've been saying the alphabet community has more rights than black and brown people who are on the brink of extermination due to the white man and him hunting our steps, right? You can say you're a dog. You can wake up and say, you're a damn mermaid. You can wake up and say, you're a little 9-year-old girl and you want to use the girls' restrooms with them. But when you say that you too are a Israelite, you get persecuted. You want to know who run the world? Talk about them and see what happens to you. Wait, did you guys hear me? My bad. 1 second. Okay, it's low. All right, my bad. Let's continue.
But for Kyrie Irving, there was no grace. It was like, no, this is so wrong, and you're going to lose your entire life for even exploring that idea. What it led me to think was, it is quite sad when you consider that so many of us have no idea where we come from. Like, that to me was the bigger point, that there are so many people on this planet.
This is so great. And I went on a little run yesterday and I just listened to this whole video. Now, I know you guys are going to say let her finish, but certain points I got to talk about for the newcomers in here. And for those of you who think you know something but really don't know nothing. She's saying what stood out to her the most about the book right here that I have, Hebrews to Negroes, is that we as a people don't know who we are. Now, she tried to generalize it and say, well, not only do Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, Black people don't know who we are, where we come from, but the world doesn't know where they come from. So I got some history. I'm gonna let it play a little more.
Planet who have no idea where they come from. I'm one of them. I can't go back beyond a couple of generations. And the reason for that is because of war. It's because of slavery. It's because of large human trafficking efforts that take place. And typically it's because, well, how does it happen? Because you should know. We should be able to say exactly which tribe we all came from in the Bible, because you would just think your relative then tells their descendant and tells their descendant and tells their descendant forever. And we could just look at our family history and go, yeah, my great, all the way going back Bible, this was us. But we can't do that because you have situations where like a bomb is dropped and like one kid.
Half truths. See, half truths. This is what I mean by half truths. I'm gonna come right back here. Now, she said something. I'm gonna do my window capture again here. She said something, and she's saying that most people on the planet can't don't know, who they are or from whence they've come, right? That's not true. Most people on the planet knows their tribes. I was just talking to one of our brothers in Kenya, right? Or who lives in Kenya, but he's in the States right now, right? So let me bring this up here real quick. Okay. I'm trying to figure out why it's doing this. Hold on. Second. Okay. So if you look at 1 second, y'all. Let me hide this and then bring it back. I don't even know. Is that a subscriber or is that a... Okay. Forgive me, y'all. Why is it doing this? I think I know why. Let me scale it like this. Okay. All right. Oh. Okay, there we go. All right, my bad. Like I said, y'all, bear with me with these things here. All right, there we go. Now, take a look at this, y'all, because she's saying that it's not just Black people who have lost their identity. She's saying the whole world has lost their identity. That's not true. These tribes of the world know who they are by and large. Look at Persia, right? If you look at the ancient Persians, you guys see it right here. Put a 1 in the chat if you see my screen clearly. If you see my screen clearly, it's going into the Persians, right? 1 in the chat if you see my screen clearly. Okay, so now it says the Persians are the population of Iran. Now, they just changed the name from Persia to Iran not even a couple hundred years ago, right? Now, when you look at, so it just was called Iran. In antiquity, it was called Persia. Now, look, let me do a word search here for Elam, right? Elam. Look at this. So it's saying the Persians spread their influence to the rest of what is considered to be Iranian plateau and assimilated with the 9 Iranian indigenous groups, including the Elamites and the Manans. Elamites, excuse me. So when you do your history and you see how Elam territory, Elamite, Elam, you can clearly prove, and we did this with the Table of Nations on the Genesis Varsity Online Academy specializing in Hebrew apologetics. You can clearly prove that Iran goes back to Persia, which goes back to Elam, and not just Persia goes back to Elam. And Elam, you guys might say, who is Elam? You might be new here. Elam is in the Bible. It's a tribe or a nation of people in the Bible. Genesis 10, right? Genesis 10. Elam, right here, one of the children of Shem. So these nations can figure out who they are. Ashur, that's the Assyrians, right? Aram, that's the Syrians, Syria. So Lud, that would be some of the people of North Africa. Ishmael, who's Ishmael? The Arabs. So look at Ethiopia. When you go to the Ethiopians, right? Look at Cush. Cush, one of the sons of Ham. Everybody knows the Ethiopians go back to Cush. Talk about the Cushitic language. So when she says things like, well, you know, it's everybody on the planet doesn't know where they are or who they came from. That's a lie. That's only with us. And if somebody happened to lose their identity, it wasn't because they were raped, robbed, murdered, and stripped from their heritage and identity like us. That only happened to us. So she's going into prophecy and not even knowing it. But that was one of the biggest things that the points that was made in the book that stood out to her, right? So when you read Deuteronomy 28 and 37, that's one of the curses. Or Deuteronomy 28, and 37, that's one of the curses that will be put on the true Israelites, the Jews, right? The true Jews. It would be that you will become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, right? So they would have nicknames for you, slander names for you, and they would never call you by your ethnic identity. That would only happen to the Israelites, right? Hosea 1 and 10. Since this is so big, sister, and we need to get you, bring me on your channel, sister, and we'll talk about why we don't have our identity, nationality, and ethnicity, why we don't have our culture, customs, and heritage, right? It says, Hosea 1 and 10, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people. They call us Hamites, African Americans, black colored, right? American, whatever, anything but a child of God. So we would lose our identity and nationality, but it's going to be said unto us that we are the children of God. We are the sons of the living God. And that's what's going on in that book you just read, sister, right? Baruch 2 and 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people, but in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. That's what's happening. That's why Kyrie Irving shared that book. You understand that? So let me keep going, and I'll come back to some of these. Let's go back to here.
Survives is because you have situations where like a bomb is dropped and like one kid survives it doesn't even have a memory of his father or his mother. You have people that were separated, as African Americans were when they were first brought over from Africa, Black Americans, separated from their families, being traded all across, quite literally no memory. I mean, I have part in my family. My grandfather's grandmother was fully Native American. I wish I could learn more about the Cherokee Native Americans, and her given name, because they made them change their names in North Carolina, was like Eliza, my grandmother.
I switched from State Farm because of this.
All right, many aunts, grandfather's grandmother.
Somebody said we can raid her live stream. Somebody said we can raid her live stream and demand a sit-down interview with the deacon. Absolutely. Absolutely. When she's live, let's make sure we all go over there simultaneously and demand a cordial interview with the deacon. Genesis
was fully Native American. I wish I could learn more about the Cherokee Native Americans, and her given name, because they made them change their names in North Carolina, was like Eliza, my grandfather's grandmother. I know nothing about her. And there's something about that that's spiritually very wrong. And like I said, everybody across the world has gone through this. There's something that puts us in a very vulnerable.
See, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You can't say that this went on with everybody in the world where they had to lose their name, identity, nationality, and culture. Come on now. Ain't no Jewish people named Tyrone Jackson. Come on, man. It's only the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who have taken on the names of their slave masters, who couldn't call ourselves by our identity or our names. And that goes back to the book of Maccabees, where it was illegal for us to call ourselves a Jew, so we had to call ourselves Greeks, where you get the Hellenization, where you get even that word diaspora or diaspora. That was only in reference to what happened with us during the time of the Greeks. You can't say this happened to everybody. This is the 1 foot in, 1 foot out of people of the world who have success and have the riches of this world and the fame of this world. They can't stand on business, right? Look at this in the Bible, right? Daniel 9 and 12, because she's trying to sit here and equate our plight or compare our plight and condition to something that happened with other nations. It pales in comparison to any nation. This is Daniel 9 and 12. Look at this in the CEB. Look at this in the CEB, right? I think it's the Christian English Bible. Oh, the CEV. Here we go, the CEV, the Contemporary English Version. Look at this, y'all. You warned us and our leaders that Jerusalem would suffer the worst disaster in human history. And you did exactly as you had threatened. Now, we know our judgment as a people is cyclical, so it happens on a cycle. This was said to be the worst thing that happened in human history, what happened to us back during the time of Daniel. But now, imagine, because the curses say that it would keep happening to us. Deuteronomy 28 and 46, it says, these curses will be upon you for a sign and a wonder forever until the Messiah saves us. So we have suffered the most in human history. No other nation comes close. It's not even close. First Maccabees 2 and 10. What nation have not had part in her kingdom and gotten her spoils? Every nation had a part in our captivity, subjugation, and systemic oppression. Isaiah 63 says it will be so bad for us that God himself would have to intervene. That's divine intervention. Look at this in Isaiah 63 and Isaiah 63 and 5. And I looked, and there was none to help. See, the Asians got a bill. The Asians got a hate bill. The Jews got reparations. The Irish got reparations. All these other nations get bills that protect them. But they get perks and benefits from being here. The immigrants get more rights and benefits than us. There's none to help us. We don't have a land to go back to. We don't have a language to go back to. We don't have a culture to go back to. We don't know our names. We're the only ones who have the names of our slave masters and speak the language of our slave masters by force. Let me make this clear. While not knowing where we came from. Period. That's only us. God said that none to uphold. Therefore, my own arm, who's the arm of the Lord? Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. Right? So we are done. We got done so bad that we're the only ones that need a Messiah. We're the only ones that need to be saved. And matter of fact, when the Messiah comes back, he's only going to save us because we're the only ones who need to be saved from the hands of our enemies. Jeremiah 23 and 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise up unto David a righteous branch, and the king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. That's the southern kingdom, Judah, and Israel, the northern kingdom. You understand that? We're the only ones that need a savior. Those small hats over there in Israel, they don't need a savior. $1 billion in aid annually, Iron Dome, fighter jets from America, nuclear bombs from America, allies, you name it, they're the occupiers. They shape the global narrative, the worldwide narrative. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they run it. Let's continue.
State when we don't know where there's something that puts us in a very vulnerable state when we don't know where we come from. Now, why am I saying this to you? I want to show you this clip that I saw circling on Instagram from a guy named Manly P. Hall. I don't think he's alive anymore. He was a Canadian author, a lecturer, and an astrologer. And he said something that I thought was of quite a lot of substance. Take a listen to it.
The average person who goes to school has no idea why humanity exists. He has no idea concerning a spiritual factor in material existence. He has no general comprehension of the rules of life as these differ from the rules of social and political structures. He does not know where he came from. He does not know why he is here, and he has no idea where he's going. And on this compound ignorance, we offer degrees and make brilliant scholars of the people who have never answered any of those questions. It is one of these amazing things that we have created a great hierarchy of well-lettered ignorance. We have made everything subservient not to wisdom, but to the passing advantages of the hour.
Now, he's saying we as human beings are put on this earth to serve God, but you know, that has nothing to do with pinpointing your tribe and your ethnicity and the fact that we lost our identity. That's why you're with a white man. You just said that when you lose your identity, it makes you vulnerable. And the fact that we lost our identity got you with a white man wanting to be white. Thank you for promoting, you know, who we are as Hebrew Israelites, you know, the water for the super chat donation. All praises to the Most High. Let me see who that was. Oh no, that's a Genesis Flexer. My fault. Dark Child, Genesis Flexer. Greatly appreciate y'all for becoming a member of the channel. But us losing our identity has you so vulnerable that you married and procreated with the devil. That's how serious it is to be left out there and that's how serious our vulnerability is, that since we don't know who we are, we want to conform and assimilate into the nations, these heathen nations that we don't come from and that are not for us. Let's continue.
If you don't know where you came from, you know nothing. I mean, that's the reality. When he says that we parked aside wisdom
Okay, so you know nothing.
and replaced it with something else, that is the truth. That is what comes from ancestry. There's a certain wisdom that comes from ancestry, which is why it becomes important to understand, well, if we don't know history, we know nothing. Everything is becoming an ever present. What if there was a group of people who could quite literally, knowing every single name, trace, or maybe there's more than one group of people who can do this straight back to the Bible? Like, that would be so impressive, and they would have so many
We just proved that. Now, now let's say you lost your records like we did. The Bible says we would know who we are by prophecy. I'm gonna go back to Deuteronomy 28. Who's that right there? Who's that? The water for Yakin Judah. Hopefully I'm saying that right for becoming a Genesis flexer. I got to do about 200 push-ups today with all these subscribers. Now, who remembers that Karaite Jew that we debated? Who remembers that Karaite Jew that we debated? And he said that he could trace his lineage back to like 5,000 years ago. And we laughed because at the end of the day, 5,000 years ago, bro, 5,000 years ago, my man, you a damn liar because, excuse me, you a damn liar, my man. Why is it doing this? Salakia. Because 5,000 years ago was what? Bro, that's 3,000 BC. Israelites didn't exist yet. So he said that. He literally said that he can trace his lineage back 5,000 years ago to a Jewish people, but the Jews didn't even exist until, and we can give them this just to be courteous, 1500 BC. That's only 3,500 years ago. So what are you talking about? But the way we would identify who we are after losing our identity and our records, the Bible says we will be able to know who we are through prophecy. Now, there is some history. There's just not a vast amount. There's breadcrumbs and connections to proving that we are the Israelites historically. And there's another major thing on our side called archaeology. So we do have that. Let's continue.
Answers, and they would truly have a leg up in life. And this was something that also crossed my mind, by the way, when Vladimir Putin sat down with Tucker Carlson. And one of my friends, Mike Cernovich, tweeted this mass media freakout that did not want Americans to hear what Vladimir Putin had to say. And he starts out with this, in the 7th century. And then he starts walking through Russian history, like literally started beginning in the 7th century. And Mike Cernovich remarked that Americans have no concept of these blood feuds that could quite literally be dating all the way back to 7th century. Like what he is describing, Vladimir Putin, that is, between Ukraine and Russia, he is saying is something that began in the 7th century. That is quite impressive. Again, not something that Americans could quite imagine, least of all when so much of our education is fake, right? Let's talk about Wikipedia as just one example. Wikipedia.
Now, this is where it's about to get good. So she promotes us, and then she's about to completely go in on the small hats, on the 1948ers. You guys should know what I'm talking about. But look how she said something that just escaped my mind. But she said, let me just bring it back real quick.
Our education is not something that Americans could quite imagine.
Oh, she said the fact that Vladimir Putin, when he did his interview with Tucker Carlson, that he talked about the history of Russia going back to 700 AD. Americans don't even know the civil rights history. Like, Americans live so in the future that they don't have any past at all. They don't understand it. They don't know it. They don't even care to know it. These are customs that they uphold. If you ask an American, why do you celebrate Memorial Day? Oh, just to barbecue with the family. Ask American, why do they celebrate Independence Day? Oh, just to barbecue with the family. They have no sense of history in this country, which this country really has no history anyway, and it's only been in existence in a short time. That's why the Bible says the devil comes down to you full of wrath because he only has a short time, roughly paraphrasing, right? Let's continue.
Least of all when so much of our education is fake, right? Let's talk about Wikipedia as just one example. Wikipedia virtually exists not to actually tell you anything historically, but to obscure things historically. By like the slight removal of certain facts, they are able to realize that most people don't have a memory.
Now, she's talking about the Mandela effect. Now, I'm going to say this in front of 700 people. Avicii out the water for the becoming a Genesis member. Willie Little at the water for the super chat. And Avicii out the water for the super chat donation. Greatly appreciates you. Keep us in your thoughts and prayers. But she's going into it because there is a Mandela effect. It doesn't mean they're going back in time and literally erasing things. But what they're doing is she's going to explain they're going online and they're taking certain information out, erasing it, or placing new information on sources. I'll explain. If you've been in the truth for about 10 years, maybe even 8 years, right? I remember having sources and putting my sources on YouTube, then going back and looking for them sources, and they're gone. It's not some freaky satanic thing that, oh, they're time traveling back. No, they're just seeing that we're figuring out and we're putting the pieces to the puzzle together, and then they're going and changing. This is why you can edit things on Wikipedia. This is why it's y'all better. You guys see my bookshelf? I'm getting it together, right? Solid books. In the future, in the very near future, your sources online will be so tampered with and corrupted that you won't know what's true or right. You better have hard material and hard sources. And she's right about that. Let's continue.
Of things that have happened, let's call it even 50 years ago. And all they have to do is keep updating entries and wipe away a few things. And they can give you an entirely new narrative. And it has been long understood that the ADL has been effectively running. That's why I bring up the ADL again, handing Kyrie these demands. They've been running Wikipedia so much that now Wikipedia finds it offensive. So this is a recent article in Haaretz. That's an Israel-based newspaper.
Now, I didn't even know that. And I might have to fact check that. Somebody fact check that in the chat while I let it keep playing. I didn't know the ADL ran Wikipedia. But they can't change everything because there's too many sources, but they can change some things if there's not a lot of information on that one thing. Let's go.
Where they are saying the ADL faces a Wikipedia ban over reliability concerns on Israel and anti-Semitism. The ADL no longer appears to adhere to a serious mainstream and intellectually cogent definition of anti-Semitism. So what they're basically saying is like they're just putting their feelings in there and they're saying a lot of stuff. But I think it's funny that the Wikipedia is saying that just recently happened. No, it's always been that way. And I gave you that example yesterday. If we knew the history of the ADL, if we could learn that on Wikipedia, no one would support the ADL because the ADL, factually speaking, okay.
It's just not fair. It's not fair, man. It's not fair that she gets to blaze these guys, these small hats, right? And I can't, and I really want to, and I'll say the nastiest stuff. But she gets to blaze them like that and still have 500,000 views on this video and 2 million subscribers, right? Now, we know they run YouTube as well, so she probably would have 1.5 million, 2 million views on this. But damn it, man, I wish I could just blaze them like this. But an Israelite can never do what she's saying. Matter of fact, the same ADL she's talking about has an article on me. A couple articles on me and Alizar, just completely destroying us. I I wish we could do a live show and come back blazing, right? But you know, it is what it is. I mean, they know who the real niggas are, so we can't say too much for real. They, you know, Candace, she could do whatever. She could say things, you know, and not have no reprisals for it.
Was founded to protect a pedophile named Leo Frank. This is very relevant. And by the way, I had a wonderful discussion yesterday with...
Imagine me saying that it was founded to protect a pedo. That organization that the small hats have was founded to protect a pedo. Imagine me saying that. My channel would be down. They've took my channel down for less. I played that interview with that rabbi and Nick Cannon, and they did me wrong for it, right? Imagine me saying that. Let's run that back.
Learned that on Wikipedia. No one would support the ADL because the ADL, factually speaking, okay, was founded to protect a pedophile named Leo Frank. This is very relevant. And by the way, I had a wonderful discussion yesterday with this Jewish PhD, a professor named and a writer named David Bashvakin on Twitter, because he heard about my episode talking about Sabbatianism, and I guess he assumed that I was going to say, like, this is what Jews worship, and I was actually saying the exact opposite. So I messaged him privately on Twitter, and we had this wonderful back forth speaking about how Jewish people and Christians actually need to unite and to do the research and to root out these.
Actually, in the Talmud, they can't even be friends with Christians. So I don't know which PhD told you this, but which PhD Jewish man told you this, but they are not supposed to be friends with Christians. That's a fact. That's a fact. Matter of fact, they say that your Lord and Savior, because you always say Jesus is king. You got the white Jesus right here. They believe that Jesus Christ is boiling in hot poop in hell. You want to be friends with somebody like that? Oh, you're lying, Deacon. Okay, let's get that. Jesus, Onkelos on Jesus. Right? Turn Onkelos. Hot excrement. Talmud. Oh, my mic was down. My bad. Yeah, but they're not supposed to be friends with Christians, right? Now, Jesus in the Talmud, I don't feel like getting it, but it definitely says that Jesus was a sorcerer, necromancy, and look at, and he's boiling in hot feces. You see it? Can y'all see that? Let me make sure y'all can see that. He's in hell, boiling in hot fecal matter. My sound back good? Okay, my sound's back good. Yeah, I was saying that she said the PhD Jewish scholar said that Christians and Jews need to come together, but in their own authoritative literature, which is the Talmud, they say Jesus is boiling in hot poop in hell, and that they can't be friends with him. They're not supposed to be allies with him. It ain't supposed to be. So, I don't know which Jewish scholar you're speaking of here, but he lied to you.
People and Christians actually need to unite and to do the research and to root out these satanic people that have infiltrated both of our faiths, including the Muslim, the Islamic faith as well. There has been an infiltration. And so we were having this back forth, and I was talking to him, speaking to him about these Frankists and how they literally came to America, and the evidence of that is everywhere. And particularly, yes, this is how the ADL was born. They were born of B'nai B'rith. B'nai B'rith was this Freemason chapter that was based in Atlanta, and Leo Frank was the president of that chapter. He was incredibly wealthy. He ran a local pencil factory. During Passover of 1913, he viciously raped and murdered a young Catholic girl named Mary Fagan. Okay. Now, this I am bringing up again because this is something that if you are Jewish and you're interested in history, this is something that you could read a book on. And I think that it would plant a seed for you. That there are people that are purporting to be Jewish that are lying to you about things that have happened historically and getting you to defend these horrific people, like Leo Frank was a horrific person, on this false idea that what happened to Leo Frank was evidence of anti-Semitism. In fact, there's no evidence when you actually read the facts of his case that anything that happened to him was anti-Semitic. And yet, if you look up this entry on the Leo Frank case on Wikipedia, again, the ADLs controlled it forever, they are still trying to shift the blame of this horrific murder, which I believe was a ritualistic murder that took place because I believe that he was a Frankist. He descended from Jacob Frank. They are still trying to sell to the public that it's plausible that the black janitor did it.
That should infuriate you guys. That should infuriate people, our people, that man would assault that little girl like that and then blame it on a black man janitor in the early 1900s. And then for his protection, the ADL was formed. You see that? But they got the nerve to do an article on me?
That is explicitly racist, okay? You have to be a moron, and I'm saying this with love in my heart, to believe that in 1913 Atlanta, okay, in the segregated South, that the judicial system decided to collude, right, to protect a black janitor, a poor black janitor who raped and killed a white girl. Like that is just, that never happened, and yet the ADL is still trying to sell it. Because when you get into this case, you recognize that they are an evil organization, and it's terrifying to think that this evil organization, who in my view does not support Jewish people at all. That is not their purpose. In fact, like I said, I believe that they are a Frankist organization, as best evidenced by the fact that the ADL, right, decided to remove the Azov battalion.
Now, this part right here, I don't know if I could even play it. I might have to skip over it. I just want to say what she's about to say. Remember when the Russia-Ukraine war first started? I'm sorry, I keep on messing up my mic. But I was going to say I don't even want to play this part that I'm about to say, that she's about to say here, but I want to try to say it in a PG-13 way. Remember when the Russia and Ukraine war started and Russia blamed Ukraine for having, it starts with the N and it rhymes with Shotsies. It starts with an N and it rhymes with Popsies. It starts with an N and it rhymes with, yeah, Germany, all of that. So remember when Vladimir Putin said that Ukraine was hiding secret, Nazis, all right? I'm just going to say it. She is about to corroborate that, right? So I'm going to play a little bit of it. I may not play all of it. Then, now here's where she messed up at. She tried to go into the so-called Star of David, right? The so-called Star of David. Much like certain Israelites, she was horribly wrong on her understanding of the so-called Star of David. Now, I get what she's trying to do. She's trying to completely obliterate the credibility of that community. But she is in error in only a couple things that she said thus far, right? So let's play it.
Yeah, the ones that are carving swastikas into their bodies, the neo-Nazi Azov battalion in Ukraine. Well, they conveniently swastikas into their Jewish people. right? So that's just a little nugget for you guys. Look into that case and recognize that not only was Leo Frank incredibly wealthy, they were essentially running this town. Again, he was the superintendent of the factory. His wife was an unbelievably wealthy woman. There's a picture of him right there. He looks evil to me, okay? Named Lucille Selig. If you think with all of that money and all of that power, and he tried to blame it on multiple people, not just this poor black bandit janitor, but there was so much evidence. The evidence was so overwhelming that when that little girl came to pick up her paycheck, that he got her into the office, he lured her into there, raped her, and then killed her, and then tried to get the janitor to write a letter so that he could offset his crime onto a poor black man. Again, so overwhelming that you will just be like, what is going on? And there's little tidbits, of course, that are not included in the Wikipedia entry, like the fact that they hated Christians. They did. Okay, that's a fact. You can actually look at this book that was written as the comprehensive account of the Leo Frank case by a man named Leonard Dinerstein.
Yeah, we know, according to the Talmud, that they hate Christians. We understand that. But all of the Christian world would say, oh, you black Hebrew Israelites, you guys are not the real Israelites. We stand with them, but they hate you guys. Come on, man. They say your Lord and Savior, who you think is God himself, equal to the Father, is boiling in hot poop. But you guys are going to say, yeah, we stand with them. We protect them. Ridiculous.
And he shows this passage that Leo Frank's mother stood up and had an outburst in the middle of the hearing, referring to them as Christian dogs. Mrs. Frank, no, nor you either, you Christian dog. Conveniently missing, again, from the Wikipedia entry because the ADL, of course, is obscuring its own history. They also...
Nah, that's a cut. That's a cut right there. She just showed you that in the sources it's saying one thing, but on Wikipedia, this same situation, because they're trying to protect him, is saying a whole other thing. We know they're the devil the Bible speaks of.
So we're involved in a lot of criminality and involvement. The FBI was looking into them, and yet today, remarkably, the ADL trains FBI agents. How could that be? How could it be that an organization that was being looked into for factually wiretapping people, that was being looked into, now suddenly they wipe their own history and they're training FBI agents? Not only that, but they share a building in Connecticut with the FBI. Does that make you comfortable, knowing what I've just told you about the ADL, that this would be happening? And obviously, we got to see them flex their power when it came to TikTok. You know, Trump couldn't get it done when he signed an executive order saying, I'm worried about China, we should ban TikTok. But when the ADL wanted to do it, it took a day, a couple of phone calls, maybe some blackmail files. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's just incredible to see that people just got in line and were willing to go, we should definitely ban TikTok.
No, just go ahead and say it. Trump couldn't get it done. They called one small hat, Winter Schnitzel or Frankenstein, whatever the hell, and they got it done. So she wants to say so much more. Just look at her. She wants to say so much more, but she's not a Hebrew Israelite. And she doesn't have balls because she's a woman, so she can't let them drag down to the ground. But we do appreciate the cryptic, the cryptic statements that she's making throughout this broadcast. Just say who runs the world. Just say that proves who runs the world.
Now, the reason why I'm speaking to you about this is twofold, because it's very important for us to understand that, again, the job is to not just delete your ancestral history via never-ending wars, moving people around, large human trafficking operations, but to also create that 1984 scenario where essentially you don't have a memory of yesterday. everything's just become like an ever present, right? People are not even learning how to read. The establishment of public education, federal education, the Department of Education, and now kids are getting dumber and dumber and dumber, and they're just going to tell people what to think. Of course, making it so that people react emotionally and not rationally. You're not going to be able to access books. You're not going to be able to read these books. Everything is just going to be an ever present, and the state is going to tell you what to think. They're going to enslave humanity, in my view, in this way.
He wants to say so much more. She said that their goal, now remember, subject matter is the small hats. Their goal is to erase a certain people's ancestry. Well, we know who they did that to. Us. Why? So that they could take it and hijack it and say that they are the people and we're not the people, when we are the people and they're not the people. The biggest identity theft in human civilization. And then she's saying that they're going to think for you. How, everybody? Somebody put it in the chat. She said they're trying to erase history. Everything's ever present. And then ultimately the state thinks for you. How? What do you think she's talking about? Come on, y'all. Let me take a look at the chat. What do you think she's talking about, chat? Mind you, this is the latest chat on YouTube, might I add. What you think she's talking about, chat? How can they do that? Come on, tell me. How can they do this, chat? Smitty Quapal, hopefully I'm saying that right. The water for the super chat donation, greatly appreciate you. J-Dubs, there you go. The mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, that will think for you according to Revelation 16. Why? Because even when it's inside of you, let me just get that. This is very important. We might have some new souls being saved today. We might have some new souls being saved today. So I have to read this. Right, let me make sure it's good on the screen. Okay. I gotta read this. I'm sorry. Now, look at this in Revelation 16. This is going to show you that when you take this mark of the beast RFID chip, it is going to think for you. Watch this. For they said, watch this. Fifth angel poured out the seed of the beast and kingdom. Last man, the sixth angel pulled out. Where is it where it says, I heard another, which had the power in their planet not. Seed of the beast. Not in the sixth angel. Where is the gruesome? Yeah, I can't. Okay, here we go. My bad. Now look at this, Revelation 16:2. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast. Now this proves it's physical and literal, not spiritual or allegorical like some people say, because this mark is going to give you a physical sore on your body. They can make it do that. Try to take it out and see what happens. But look, this is what's going to happen to the people that have the mark, right? And then it says, let's go to 8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto them to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blasphemed the name of God, which had power over this place. Watch this. And they repented not to give him glory. Why? Why would you have the mark of the beast and be getting tortured plague after plague and not say, okay, God, I'm sorry. Like when I'm whooping my son's ass, he said, all right, Daddy, I'm sorry. Okay, I won't do it again. You're not going to do that because the mark of the beast, which controls your mind, is not going to let you. That's Bible. So let's go back here and continue.
And one thing, and this is a big thing, by the way, so I'm really hoping that a lot of people who are Jewish are watching this as well. That struck me as really odd when I was learning about Sabbatianism, and this really shocked me to my core because I've always told you guys I grew up with a large Jewish community. All my best friends were Jewish growing up, and I've always seen like the Star of David that is a lot of Jewish people wear as a necklace, you know, and I thought that that was associated traditionally somehow with Judaism. And so I was very surprised, and I will ask the question, do you know the history of the Star of David?
So watch this, y'all. She thinks she's deep here. She might have did one Google search. Don't talk about Wikipedia, then use Wikipedia. All right, watch this.
Why is it being called the Star of David? And I'm just going to just show you guys this straight up on Wikipedia. So if it's on Wikipedia, basically after they've obscured everything, that just must mean that it's just such an irreversible fact, because you wouldn't even want to admit this, but
That's a double standard. That's not fair. And so you see why she said, oh, well, yeah, I know I just got done bashing Wikipedia, which she's right about certain things on Wikipedia. But then she said, oh, but I'm going to use Wikipedia. And guess what? If it's here, then it must be true because they didn't erase it. That's a fallacy.
this is what the entry shows you about the Star of David, because it's actually a very recent thing that has been adopted from the Jewish community. Okay, it's not something stemming from the ancient times, and this is exactly what it reads. It reads that it is a derivative of the seal of Solomon.
And this is why I love our women, but I won't debate our women. I'll talk to our women, I'll conversate with our women, but I'll have an exchange with our women, but I just will not debate our women. She just said that the Star of David is not from antiquity, but she's going to say it's the Star of Molech, which Molech existed in antiquity. Hello? Make it make sense, sister. Come to Genesis, and we'll get you right with the proper knowledge. But let's continue so we can debunk this.
Was used for decorative and mystical purposes by Muslims and Kabbalistic Jews. I want you to remember that, okay? So it's a derivative of the seal of Solomon. King Solomon was used for decorative and mystical purposes by Muslims and Kabbalistic Jews. It also goes on to say that only around 1 millennium later did the star begin to be used as a symbol to identify Jewish communities, a tradition that seems to have started in Prague before the 17th century. I want you to remember that as well. And from there spread to much of Eastern Europe in the 19th century. It came to be adopted by European Jews as a symbol to represent Jewish religion or identity. In the same manner, the Christian cross identified the religion's believers. The symbol became representative of the worldwide Zionist community after it was chosen as the central symbol on a flag at the first Zionist Congress in 1897. So this is a recent symbol. But I'm going to show you that there is a mention of that star. It is called something else in the Bible. It is referred to, and I'm going to just dig this up for you, something that is known as the Star of Remphan in the Bible, okay? And I'm going to show you.
You heard that on Google. I'm going to let her give her little chicken George breakdown. And I just want to debunk that. We love you, sister. Get rid of that devil, of course. Get into this faith. Get into this truth. Learn who you are. Keep reading that book that you said you read, Hebrews to Negroes. Watch Genesis, Israelites. Okay? Watch this camp, Genesis, and get fed. Eat. Right? I'm going to let her break it down.
You that star right now. Here's a picture of it. Oh, you can see if you're Jewish, you're going, oh, that's the Star of David. You can see on that left side there, by the way, that you see a goat and you see it looks like a pharaoh up top there. So you're going, okay, I don't associate this with Judaism whatsoever. And in the Bible, here's where it's mentioned. It says, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon.
The first thing she did wrong was read the New Testament quotation. She should have went to the source. The New Testament in Acts is quoting Amos. That's where you went wrong at. So we're going to talk about it.
It's also referenced later. It says, ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and your Chian, your images, the star of your God.
It's not Chian, it's Kiyun. All right, you got to know Hebrew if you want to debunk certain things.
Which ye made to yourself. So what is this referring to? It's referring to the ancient Canaanites, okay? The Canaanites were a brutal and a wicked culture. They frequently engaged in behavior that was considered obviously immoral and decadent, right? A list of the sins that Israel was told to avoid at all costs. Those sins included the Canaanites, particularly in incest, in child sacrifice, in homosexuality, and in bestiality. Now, in your mind, you're going, okay, that sounds familiar. We spoke about this as well when I was telling you guys about the Khazarian kingdom. And I think somebody asked a question yesterday, like, oh, do you know about the Khazars? And I had mentioned to you that, yes, I'm very aware, by the way, because I think that is what was mentioned also in that documentary that Kyrie Irving shared, was that for a period of time, a lot of Israeli historians were writing books and receiving awards for having traced their lineage to the Khazars.
Now we as Hebrew Israelites, we know about the Khazarian conversion or the Khazarian Empire, but that worldview, that ideology has holes in it. What's foolproof is that even the Talmud says that the Kalanimus family are converts. And then all the Jewish historians and scholars say that they can trace back their families from the Rhineland to the Kalanimus family, Dr. Henry Abramson, Dr. Brown. And so that is the connection. They call that the genetic bottleneck. And so that's a fact. The Khazarian theory that has holes in it and it can get debunked. Do I believe that happened? Yes, but that has nothing to do with the Ashkenazim, okay? For anybody who wants to check out that debate, we brought out the presentation of the Kalanimus family. It's all on, just look up Dr. Brown versus Guerrilla Hebrew, right? So let's continue.
Very similar.
The fact that she's showing resistance to the powers that be is applaudable and commendable, right? Call them converts, damn it.
Story with that kingdom before it was crushed by Russia and Persia. Okay. So if you're following what I'm saying to you here, essentially this star of Remphan, which is being used, it was a symbol that the Canaanites used, and it was the star of a deity in which they worshipped. And I'm going to show you that Moloch, I guess. Okay, so again, you are seeing child sacrifice, which is what is being portrayed here. I'm not sure if we have another photo of Moloch, but yeah, you know, it has long been understood. There's Baal, there's Moloch. It's all about child sacrifice, and the goat is a known image that is associated with it. And another word for Moloch is Saturn. So this is all very interesting because you're going, okay, you have this entry. It says to you that this came from the Seal of Solomon. It had to do more with the Kabbalah. A lot of people wear it.
Let me just debunk that real quick. Now, when you look at what she's saying, the 6 point, what they call a 6 point star, it's really the bud of a pomegranate, right? Bud of a pomegranate, and is commanded to put on the robe of the priests. Images. What's a good one? Bud of the pomegranate. When it's fully and perfectly budded, you see it has a 6 point symbol. 6 point symbol. I wanted to do a clothing line out of that. There we go. Look at that. That's perfect right there. Can you guys see that? Or should I go in closer? Let's see. Let's blow that up real quick. Bow. Look at that, right? And this is very simple, but you know, if you don't do your research, you won't know. And then you'll end up looking foolish, right? So it's the bud of a pomegranate, right? And it's actually commanded, this bud, this symbol is commanded to be put on the robe of the priest, right? Let me just type it in. Exodus 39 and 26. a bell and pomegranate around the robe of the hem, around the robe to minister in it, as the Lord commanded Moses. We also see the bud of the pomegranate to be put on the temple that God told Solomon to build. I believe it was lily work and pomegranate work. Now, when you take a look at the lily, 6 points. The Bible says that's the Most High's favorite flower. Lily flower, 6 points. You'll see that kind of like right here, right? These were symbols that were commanded to be put on the temple. Lily work. 1 Kings 7:22. And upon the top of the pillars was lily work. So was the work of the pillars finished, right? Now, they took the symbol and demonized it. Now, somebody could say, well, why are they demonized it? The same way they demonized the rainbow. The rainbow wasn't supposed to be used for the alphabet community. The rainbow was a symbol to show that the Most High had love for the world, right? Excuse me. But let me just go to what she quoted, because she quoted the New Testament, but the New Testament is quoting Amos, right? Amos 5. Let's just debunk this real quick. Now, she said, when they say star of Molech, that represents Saturn. How did ancient civilizations depict Saturn? Watch this, y'all. The god Saturn. Look at this. This is the god Saturn right here. This is why it's so easy to debunk not only just her, but Christians or Israelites that really don't know what they're talking about. The god Saturn, or Saturn, was never depicted as a 6-point symbol. I'll challenge anybody, and we could bet any amount of money. I've almost 2 decades in this thing, and we have compact research, extensive archaeology on this, so we know what we're talking about. The water to Zinja for the super chat donation, greatly appreciate you. So if somebody says, look, that 6-point star is Saturn, that's a lie. All the ancients had a man personified. When they seen the lights in the skies and wanted to worship them, they would make them as men. So this would be Saturn, this guy, not a symbol, a guy. An erected statue would be personified as Saturn, not a 6-point symbol. I hope you guys understand that, right? Now, let's go into this Bible verse, though, that she quoted and show you when it says star of Molech is talking about an erected symbol like this. Just like this. Like they made a statue or a man, a pillar, and said that was Saturn or that was Moloch. Right? Amos 5 and is it 5:26, right? But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Kiyun. Remember this, Kiyun, the star of your God. So what represented the star? Kiyun. Now watch this. Go into the Hebrew and see if this is a 6-point symbol or not. Kiyun.
The Strong's H 3594. Kiyun. Kiyun.
Yeah, you know, like some of you black people are Kiyuns. Right? Okay, so look what it says. An image or a pillar. A pillar, such as what we see here, depicting Saturn. An erected man or an erected image. Not some 6-point symbol. Right? Let's go back here. Prove it even more. Probably a statue. Not a 6-point symbol. Probably a statue. Right? Of the Assyrian Babylon god of the planet Saturn. So they didn't, when they were worshiping Kiyun or Moloch, they weren't worshiping a 6-point star. The stars in the heavens were personified as statues or pillars on earth. Look what it says. A statue. Look at the actual definition. So we already cute you with the usage, right? Now, look at what the definition says. Statue, idol, some heathen deity, Kiyun. And then when you look at the lexicon, the name of an idol, evil demon. But when you get into the very word, though, even how the word is constructed is dealing with an upright pillar. So no, the 6-point star is not Remfram or Molech or Kiyun. That's ridiculous. It's the lily and the pomegranate that was commanded that we use and put on our robes and temple. But of course, the heathen takes our symbols and demonizes them. It's very simple. All right. Right. And the Bible says a star is a circle. That's what the Bible says. Even your science teacher teaches you that. Deacon, when can Israelites join Genesis?
Genesis.
The invitation to prospect to the Genesis Israelite camp that we have just started is going on now. So hit my email. Moderators, put my email in the chat, deaconmusicpage@gmail.com. Let's do the work. There end our beginning. That's what it's all about, right? We're not with Sakari no more, but much love to them brothers. Genesis, another group of brothers doing the work. That's it. So let's go back here and
today, and they don't worship the Kabbalah. They have, obviously, but again, you don't really know history. You're growing up in a family. You're wearing this. You don't know history of these things, because why would you? I don't know much history about really anything. Like I said, I don't even know where my family's ancestry comes from. But I found this to be really interesting. So on Wikipedia, there's just an entry for sorcery, just the word sorcery, which they have in parentheses is also known as Goetia. Okay. And it tells you that King Solomon in this entry of Israel was linked with magic and sorcery, attributed to a book with incantations for summoning demons. Okay. The Testament of
now she's using extra biblical sources. And look at. Oh, see, it's this is why I said I'm with some of the things she said, but I'm gonna get some of the things she said. Now, I want everybody to look at the screen. Let's see how insincere she's being at this point right now. She's been going in on small hats, it's fine. Can you guys see the screen? Look at it. Summoning demons. What does it say after summoning demons? What are the two words it says after it says summoning demons? Can anybody tell me that? What is the two words it says after it says summoning demons? Because I didn't hear her read this, but she conveniently left it out. I'll explain. Oh, you guys can't read, I see. The chat is a little behind. What does it say, chat? Two words, not one word. The pseudepigraphic. The pseudepigraphic. She leaves that out because she wants her audience to believe that she's going into some scholarly sources and proving that the Star of David comes from sorcery in the Testament of Solomon. She mentions the book Testament of Solomon, right? Watch this. Now we're going to read it together. Let's see if she says it's pseudepigraphic.
And in this entry of Israel was linked with magic and sorcery, attributed to a book with incantations for summoning demons. Okay, the Testament of Solomon.
She didn't even say the pseudepigraphic Testament of Solomon. She just said the Testament of Solomon. Come on, sister. You gotta be more sincere. Like, it's the pseudepigraphic book. It's fake. It's made up from probably 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Like, come on. Don't attribute that to Solomon. The Bible tells you what he did. He loved his women so much, he created idols for them, and then he worshiped the idols with his women. That was his transgression.
one of the oldest magical texts, narrates Solomon's use of a magical ring to command demons. Now, you can see on the right there, Solomon's seal has what we would refer to, it is the Star of David, right? The Star of David that we know actually, as we just saw, it's actually the Seal of Solomon. And it is telling you that King Solomon linked this with magic and sorcery. And the oldest magical text narrates Solomon's use of a magical ring to command demons. With the ascent of Christianity, books on magic were frowned upon, and the spread of magical practices was often associated with paganism. Okay. And then you'll see.
So she's saying that because of the Testament of Solomon says he had a magic ring and it had the Star of David on it, so-called Star of David, and it's the Seal of Solomon, and it all goes back to what this is nasty work. It's nasty work. It's not good. Stop.
Later on in this exact same Wikipedia entry, it says the magical revival of sorcery gained momentum in the 19th century, spearheaded by figures like Eliphas Levi. If you're a watcher of this show, you know that is the guy that created Baphomet, the transgendered deity. Okay, spearheaded by Eliphas Levi and Aleister Crowley. Okay, person that I've been telling you, the establishment of NASA. So what we have here is a scenario where the occult has really just kept going on since biblical times, masquerading within and around different religions. So you know about Gnosticism, the Jewish Kabbalah, the Christian Kabbalah. We know that there are these people who believe in this magic. And that is why yesterday when I was telling you guys, and you guys were very reactive, and I'm so glad that you really engaged in this, about this unknown schism that took place. So relevant to understand this. And again, I learned this because I was interested in the perversion of Sigmund Freud, this unknown schism in which half of the world's Jewry converted or followed this guy who they believed to be the Messiah. His name was Sabbatai Zevi. Now, Sabbatai means Saturn, okay? And by the way, in case you guys didn't know,
well, we know that 90% of, the Jewish community is secular. We do know that. What does that mean? That they don't believe in God? We understand that. But I missed something, because remember she talked about how the ADL was created because one of their own raped a little girl and tried to blame it on the black man. I forgot to mention something. The reason why he raped a little girl is because that's something that their Talmud, which is their oral Torah, says that they can take the young. They can take the young. Right? I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. Show you guys this. Show you guys this real quick. Hey, prepare yourselves. Prepare yourselves. Don't get all messed up. This is in their literature. All right? This is in their literature. I'm going to blow up the screen. Okay, what does it say, y'all? This is in Nidah. In the Talmud, in Nidah 5:3. A girl who is 3 years old and 1 day old, whose father arranged her betrothal, is betrothed through intercourse. You understand that? This is what it says in their Talmud. But see, Christians want to go against us, but not against them. Why? Because they hate their own people. Black people hate their own people. But this is what it says here. You understand that? And I got a rabbi to tell you that's what it says. He says he don't agree with it, but it's in your Talmud. And you guys hold this over Torah in most cases. So we're still saying that we're for these people? SOT, Shalom, Shalom, my brothers. Yeah, so I just been waiting to debate a rabbi because I am a scholar in the Talmud. And I know everything in there. I know most things in there that they probably wouldn't want to talk about. I know what it says about black people, how they can't be a priest. I know how it says that black is a blemish, but the Bible says black is beautiful. I know what it says in there about young girls. I know what it says in there about Jesus. I know what it says in there about Gentiles. I know what it says in there about young boys. Don't let me bring that up. Matter of fact, let's go down here. All we got to do is this is the same chapter. Same chapter. Now, in the case of a boy, same chapter, Niddah, Niddah, 5 and 9, I believe. In the case of a boy, 9 years old in one day, a 9-year-old boy whose brother died childless, who engaged in intercourse with his Yavama, not your mama, his brother's widow. So the status of the intercourse is halakhic, meaning it's lawful. So not only can they take that 3-year-old, but a 9-year-old boy, if he has an older brother or a 10-year-old brother, I guess, if he has a brother, period, that has a wife and they don't have kids together and the brother dies, that 9-year-old boy has to take his brother's wife and go unto her and raise up a seed to her and has to marry her by sexual intercourse. That's what it says in this text, right? Now I'm watching very closely at how many viewers we have right now, because saying stuff like this is very it will compromise your yeah. You see how the viewers keep going down? Because when you talk about this, it's not good. But I'm willing to put my life on the line and I'm willing to put it out there. You see how the viewers just went down like almost 100. But you know, I gotta stop saying the cold words. Hey, everybody put "We love Israel" in the chat. Everybody put "We love Israel" in the chat. Now we know which Israel we're talking about, but everybody put that in the chat. Let's let them know, hey, we don't want no smoke. We don't mean no harm. We already got the information out there. So it's all good. Lord willing, he protects the channel. Yeah, y'all. We reached our 2-hour minute mark. Almost. We reached about 2 hours. So I think we could conclude here. The true Israelites of the Bible are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I'll see you guys Friday with another live show. We're going to end this by giving all praises. Oh, wait, y'all had some questions? I know somebody had questions. My bad. I know y'all had questions. Let's get some questions answered in the chat. Let's get some questions in the chat. Who got questions, comments, or smoke?
Genesis.
Questions, comments, or smoke. What's going on? Questions, comments, or smoke. What's going on, y'all?
Genesis.
I'm going to keep that on your guys' mind. Let's get some questions.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Okay. Write the vision down, make it plain on tables. My dad was killed by his brother like Cain did Abel. I was young and I know I didn't treat my mama the best. Gotta right my wrongs before I lay my mama to rest. Can't deny all my flaws, I'm traumatized. Lost 100 homies due to homicide. Caught my first dope case.
Scholarship. We gotta give away a scholarship too.
I know you're playing and I'm aware of your call, but why you want a man with so many character flaws. Heavenly bread, I ain't worthy to taste. On my knees early begging for your mercy and grace. Striving to keep your laws, please show me your morale. Keep me away from these guys acting holier than
Scholarship,
thou.
scholarship.
And I know this is just one more rant. I know it always seems I'm asking you for one more chance.
Hey.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas.
Sometimes you gotta pop out and show niggas. That's from my album I Can't Stand Rap that dropped a few weeks ago. Okay, let's drop a link in the chat. Let's drop a link in the chat and then we'll get the scholarship. We'll get the scholarship going. Let's drop a link in the chat. Let me see how I do this again. Let's see how I do this again. One chance. Yeah, Howard, give me one chance. Okay, we're gonna put a link in the chat. We got some smoke. We got some smoke in the chat. We got some smoke in the city. What the heck? Come on. Why in the world? Hold on. Hold up, hold up. Why are we doing this? Oh my goodness. Now I can't sign in. Horrible. Hold on, hold on. We got some smoke in the chat. I think we got some smoke in the chat. Okay, I gotta do it like this. My bad, y'all. I'm gonna have to put the link in the chat like this. They got me doing all this, cutting all these corners and stuff. Okay, I'll put the link in the chat like this. Okay, here we go. All right, link is in the chat. And 3, 2, 1. That should work. And 3, 2. Y'all stick around for the smoke and also the questions and also the scholarship session. Okay, there we go. There we go right there. All praises. Yahweh, give me one more chance. Yeah, that's called One More Chance off of the I Can't Stand Rap. Hey, Danny boy, will flesh be able to enter the kingdom? Glorified body. Your glorified body. Yahweh, give me a chance.
Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching.
I'm about to beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out. Okay, let me pull this up real quick. Okay. And then the calculator. All right. All right. The link is in the chat. Is there a video on 100% fabric? I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do one. We'll do one to clear up our understanding on mixed fabrics. I know that's a lot of things that people have a question about: lineups, mixed fabrics, all of that. So let's see. We got somebody in the back, but it's not. Hey, shalom, brother. What's going on?
Maybe.
Corey, you're on. You're live now. What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. I just wanted to say all praise to the Most High, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Praises,
And
praises,
also, is there a topic that I need to speak on? Do I need to bust a motherfucker down? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Nah. Nothing. We just put the link in the chat. If there was any questions, comments, or smoke, that's it.
Oh, okay. So my comment is about Candace Owens, right? I want to make a comment about her. She talks really, really fast. She's very intelligent, but sometimes to her own detriment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's almost there. You know, and I really wish that you guys would just flood her email, flood her contact, and make her come home. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all guys got a lot of influence, a lot of power. You know, right now the tables are turning. Everybody's waking up because the truth is going out. And the brothers down in Orlando, shout out to WFI Orlando. They woke me up, man. You gave me a little smoke on your side. You gave me a little smoke, but I didn't really know what was going on at the time. Now that I know, it's just like, bro, I really appreciate y'all. I'm not going to hold you. Just keep doing the work. I appreciate you. Love y'all, man. Love
all
y'all.
Praises, brother. Love you too, King. Shalom. All praises. We appreciate you. Somebody saying the link's not working. 2 people just clicked the link. So how the link not working? Children of Israel, the water for the super chat donation says, what will be Iran's response to Israel's strike? We're hoping that it'll be a preemptive a response of vitriol, okay, of extreme vitriol. I need a camera here, and I need a camera here. That's what I need to do. 2 cameras. Somebody click the link and see if it's working, because 2 brothers just clicked the link. Somebody said the link is working. Link says stream not found. What? Okay, hold on. Let me get another one. Let me generate another link. Generate another link. Copy. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show. Okay, we'll try to put a link in the chat again. It's working for some, not working for others. Copy link. Somebody said 4 cameras. Nah, I don't need 4 cameras, man. That'll be crazy. I might get dizzy. I'm looking here, looking there, looking up, looking over. You trying to have me cross-eyed on here, brother. Somebody said Candace Owens put raisins on her potato salad. Whew. Okay. All right, we got a brother on here. Christian, what's going on, brother?
Hello, shalom. I just had one quick question.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to know if it was okay to exercise on the Sabbath day.
That's a good question. Some people say yes, some people say no. And let me just give you both understandings. The Bible talks about servile work. That's business. Not necessarily exercising. It just what's prohibited is business. That type of work, buying, selling, right? And so some people say, yeah, you can because of that. Then some people say, well, you know, that's not resting because rest comes with the Sabbath. But then somebody might say, well, Yahushua, who the world calls Christ, says Sabbath is made for man. So it's your option if you want to rest in your house or clean your house. So there's two different understandings on that. I don't do it, but I don't really judge people that do it. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of in the middle.
Okay. Thank you for that.
All praises. You got to go with what your spirit is saying.
Right on.
All praises. Shalom. Somebody said it takes energy. Well, I'll tell you what. When we did New Moon Feast, you didn't just leave that feast dirty. You had to clean up after that feast in Israel. You didn't just leave food and dirt and trash everywhere. So that takes energy. Let's see who we got. Somebody named Israel 25. You're live.
Shalom. Shalom. How you doing? Much love, Deacon.
Shalom, brother. What's going on, King?
Man, we talked a few months ago. I don't know if you remember. I'm here in Igbo land right now, but you know I'm still.
Oh yeah. What's up, brother? What's going on?
What's up, bro? Man, just a lot of killing going on out here. You know, a lot of stuff going on out here.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
genocide.
Bro. Basically, it's like we have a leader that's locked up, and it's a long
like
story.
Haiti. Is it like Haiti kind of?
Nah, it's like we have this guy that fights for the Igbo people named Nnamdi Kanu. They locked him up, and he's been locked up for like 5 years. So he's like a prisoner of the government. I'll talk to you more about it later.
Okay.
Just to be careful. But I've been following you, man, and I'm glad you've been doing your thing, bro. And you know, you always about prayers.
Thank you.
And you know, I pick up that knowledge from you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. All praises.
All praises.
This is not Ronan. Somebody said this is Ronan. This is not Ronan, y'all. This is not Ronan.
What's Ronan?
Ronan's a brother that be coming on the stream who's probably watching right now. Don't see y'all gonna conjure Ronan up. Do not conjure. Y'all love to conjure demons up, man. These Israelites in the chat. Hey chat. Say chat. Do not conjure up the demons, man.
Well, Ronan, he be talking crazy.
Nah, he's respectful, but he's a pest at some point. But I love
he's out of pocket.
Yeah. What's up though? Did you have a question? If not, I'm about to get up out of here.
No, I was just gonna say I'll get in touch with you on Instagram or something. I think or your email.
Yeah, hit me up. I want to talk to you about what's going on down there for sure.
Yeah, no, we gotta put something together. Remember, you wanted to see pictures. I just don't want to be weird. Come into like a white Igbo and be like, "Can I take a picture of you?" They gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
No, just send. What you can do is you can just send me some information. You know, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they got information, so you can send me some information.
Yeah, part of my language, I cuss.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to rebrand everything. I'm trying to rebrand the camp. I'm trying to just do things differently, man.
Now you my prayers, brother.
All praises. Appreciate you, King. Tap in and get with me on the Instagram or the email. All praises. I am a content creator. Is it lawful to accept super chats and cash apps on the Sabbath? Well, it's lawful to do well on the Sabbath. People can donate on the Sabbath. They're not buying anything. And it's crazy to me when people ask me a question and then I hear men and women in the chat answering the question. So when somebody asks me a question, make sure I think it should be obvious, but make sure you say this question is for Deacon, not just some random in the chat, because apparently they think you're talking to them. Anyway, somebody said resend the link. Look, I put 3 to 4 links in the chat. People are clicking it. If somebody wanted to smoke and they can't click it, the Most High don't want them up here. We're past the 2-hour mark. We're going to end this by giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh. We do so by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Until Friday, Kwam Yasharala and Shalom. Genesis.